I'm Chad with Flash Performance. This is my 2020 Honda Talon 4X, and I am tired of getting stuck and pulling my friends out of the mud. So I ride with a bunch of guys that drive Razors, and that means either they're getting stuck or I'm getting stuck. Pretty much everybody's getting stuck. And having a four-seater, I high center all the time, especially going over the top of hills. And one of the things I don't have on this rig yet is a winch. And to put a winch on the new Talon, these are pretty new. There's not a lot of support out there for them yet. So there's more and more companies that are starting to come on board and adding winch mounts. And also on this one, there's no hitch receiver on the back of the Talon. So I wanted to add the ability to put a 2-inch receiver hitch on there to be able to add other things like tow trailers around or be able to put a recovery hook there as well. So to do that, I was surfing around the old interwebs and I found that Rough Country has gotten into the Talon game. They have quite a few accessories for the Honda Talons, and we're going to put a couple of those on today. So let's see what's in the box. So the Honda Talon doesn't have what you would consider a traditional way to mount the winch. The winch actually mounts vertically onto the frame of the front of the Talon to give it the most strength. You don't actually mount it to the bumper. And then this is going to be our fairlead that will mount inside where the bumper is to be able to guide our winch. Now the winch, that's something special, and that's something you're going to have to wait and see. And when we talk about the rear receiver for the Honda Talon, there was a couple of things that I was really looking for. And that was how low is the receiver hitch, because I wanted one very low on the mount, but also what kind of garbage is up here above where the receiver hitch goes in. A lot of them out there, and I understand why, there's a lot of extra structure coming up from where the receiver hitch is. Now, I'm not towing a ton of weight with this, so I'm not worried about that bending down by any means. But the reason that I wanted to do that is I wanted to have a little extra space. The muffler is actually quite high, so I have space in between there to add something else. And that something else I haven't really decided yet. I'm thinking about maybe putting a tiger tail in that space, or maybe a second winch on the back of the unit. Now, if you haven't seen the tiger tail, those are pretty cool as well. It's like a retractable tow strap, and you can use that as a recovery strap as well and as a snatch strap, and then you just let it go and it goes right back in. This weekend on my last outing, we had a guy that broke down and I actually had to pull him up a hill, and having a recovery strap that automatically winches in, that kind of sounds like something appealing to me. It's just not in the budget just yet. So what we're going to do is we're going to mount the rear receiver hitch on it, and then we're going to get the winch and mount the front winch plate on there, and we're going to show you how it all works. To the back. Oh, forgot the plate. To the back. So overall, this is going to be a pretty simple process. We just simply take the 4 bolts out that are holding the radius rods on, and we're going to replace them with the new hardware that we received from Rough Country. Now, we want to make sure that we take the weight off of the suspension by putting a jack underneath there. When we take these off, the tires aren't going to flop out by any means, but we want to make sure that we're not putting undue pressure where we don't need to. So these will come out pretty easy. These are 17 millimeter bolts. So let's get those taken off. So after reading the directions, I learned something. They want you to take these and go from the back towards the front. And the reason being is because there's a bracket right up here in the front that this longer stud can't fit from the back side. So go ahead and put the washer on there. We'll drive the other one out, and we'll do that on all 4, and we'll get them all out. Dang thing's got some serious suspension travel. Holy cow. All right. So we're going to bolt and washer all 4 of those. Now you'll notice that there's a little cutout right here, and that's because the rear differential juts out a little bit. So we got to make sure that we take that into consideration and make sure everything lines up. Easy. So my links are radius rod links, so this part doesn't really matter, but if you have a bushing style radius links, you want to make sure that you have it at right height before you crank those down. That way the rubber is centered. You don't have it twisted one way or the other and preloaded. And it's in! Now, I looked at this for a long time thinking, oh, it's just a plate of metal with a box welded on it. I can do that. No, it's not. The reason is because this is actually a setback here, so you have to have two bends in it to be able to get that setback that it needs, or you'd have to shim that way out, and I didn't want to do that. So this is a pretty awesome setup to be able to run a receiver hitch on the back of the Talon.